It's virtual conference coverage at Geekazine.
All right, we're here, Adobe After Effects. We got Victoria and he's here working from home. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Why don't you tell everybody what your role is at Adobe, and then we're going to talk a little bit about After Effects.
Sure. So I'm Senior Product Manager for After Effects. I've been at Adobe for just over 5 years. And before that, I was a motion designer and After Effects user myself. I've actually been using AE since I was 13 years old.
Really? I try to use it and I just get completely flustered on it. But there's new products here and that's great. And a really cool one that does multi-rendering. Is that what that is?
Multi-frame rendering.
Multi-frame rendering. Let's talk about the March stuff first. And then we'll get into that. So what did you guys release this last month?
So we had a really big March release, and some of this has been in public beta for a while and finally made it into the release build with lots of good feedback from users. One of those things is we've actually built a real-time 3D engine into After Effects. So this is a gaming style engine, but this is one built from the ground up for creative workflows. So you'll see this engine in the other Adobe 3D apps as well. And in After Effects, what it lets you do is make 3D changes in real time.
Wow.
So here I have a scene. This started as an Illustrator file. Stuff's been popped out into 3D space. And I've already cached my 2D animation here. I have some bouncing happening on this little RV. I have some effects on the water. So there's some 2D stuff happening that I've cached. But now that I've gone into this draft 3D mode, you'll see there's a ground plane that pops up, makes it a lot easier to see where my stuff is in 3D space. And then I can also start navigating, and any changes I make in 3D are going to stay real time. So I want to start animating the camera in this scene. In fact, maybe I think this is a good ending spot, but I want to push into this position. So first thing I could do is I can grab my camera tools up here and I can start moving around the scene. I can click, and instead of back in the old days in After Effects, you could only orbit around the center of the screen. But here I can actually click on a point. I can move around that point in 3D space. Makes it a lot easier to keep things where you want them on screen.
Okay.
The cool thing though, is I don't even need to touch these tools in the toolbar. I can just go back to my selection tool and I can do all of this with keyboard and mouse without even having to change tools. It's all spring loaded. So I can hold down Option. And now, just like I was orbiting with the tool, I can orbit around a particular point on the screen, left button. I can dolly in with the right button. And I can move around and reposition things with the middle mouse button. So it's a lot faster. Just that little bit of not having to switch tools, reducing that cognitive load. But I don't even actually... Sorry, go
really quick, you said that you said Option and then you said middle button. So, of course, you're running off of a Mac. And of course, with the PC, that this Control instead of Option, correct?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And there's an alternate version of this. In our preferences, you can choose if you want to use the mouse like this, or if you want to use your 1, 2, and 3 keys, which is familiar from some other 3D apps. So we really want to make this, if you're moving across multiple apps, it's as seamless as possible.
Okay. Let's continue then.
Sure. So all of this time I've been navigating in this scene, I haven't put a camera in here at all. There's now a default scene camera. This came in at Max last year. There's a camera built into every composition behind the scenes. But I want to start animating this, and I can't keyframe something I can't see in my timeline. So first thing I'm going to do then is go up to View and choose Create Camera from 3D View. Mm-hmm. And this is going to give me a camera layer up here. And that camera layer means I can now start animating. Now I've made this a 2-node camera, so I can animate my point of interest and my position. I want to add keyframes for both of those. Say we want to land on this view of our scene. I can then jump back to my first position here, and I can start, again, I'm holding down Option, I'm navigating with the keyboard. I could pull in or out. Let's dolly out, maybe even way out. Make sure we can see these little islands here. And maybe we want to do a little bit of that. I don't know, just experimenting. And the cool thing is, because I'm in draft 3D mode, I can hit play, and there we go. It's totally seamless, stays real time. And any 3D changes I make, moving stuff around in 3D space, I'm going to be able to hold that fast performance. So if I said halfway through here, show my keyframes again, I want to add, I don't know, we're going to go over here. We're going to do something totally different. Make this bounce around a little bit. Again, I'm able to make that change and see the new resulting thing instantly. And in fact, the creative decision I'm going to make here is that doesn't look very good. Let's get rid of those keyframes. But it lets you make those kinds of decisions faster. It gives you a much quicker view of what you're actually doing to your design.
Okay. Wow. That looks awesome. That looks awesome. So
it's a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah. There's no way, of course, there was a 3D on a 2D, and there's no way to fix anything on the 2D side of things, is there?
So I can keep making 2D changes. In fact, I could go into my RV animation here. I could go into my water. I have a water turbulence. Where is my water turbulence effect in here? I could make some changes here. And if I hit preview again, I've just made an arbitrary change there, switch the color channel. It is going to need to cache that change, although it's pretty quick because I just made a very small change.
Yeah.
So it just does need to load in. It's just like you'd preview any other 2D scene in After Effects. But then once you start making those 3D changes on top of it, you really get that speed.
That's amazing. Looks like you can make some great animations and cartoons and things like that with almost real time. Almost.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun to play with. The other thing with this is we've been continuing to make it better in public beta. So even since the March release, there's some improvements. The fidelity is better. And we're going to keep improving this. This engine has a lot of really cool stuff that we can't wait to unlock. So we're going to keep building on these workflows and expanding what's possible. Okay. And of course, then when you're ready to render, I can either get that preview without the ground plane, better sense of how it's going to render, or I could turn this off entirely. And now I see my final view. And you can tell they're actually pretty darn close. So
that's awesome.
Getting better every day.
Okay. So there was one other feature you wanted to talk about with the March release?
Yeah. So I also really wanted to talk about something that I love dearly, which is not multi-frame rendering. I love that one as well. We'll talk about that in a bit, but media replacement for motion graphics templates and essential properties.
Okay.
So I'm going to switch compositions really quick, load up one that demos that. And what this lets you do is create a design once and create endless variations on that design in After Effects or in Premiere Pro with different media. So here I have a nice little graphic intro. It's going to animate in. We've got this astronaut. We can update our title here, but we want to use this title over and over. We want a lot of different variations on this. I can now just open up my Essential Graphics panel. Let me delete this so we can see this workflow in action. All I have to do is open up this layer. First I'm going to reveal this on my timeline so I'm in the right composition. All I have to do to add a layer and make it replaceable, drag and drop. I can drop this straight into my Essential Graphics panel. And then when I nest this composition inside another composition, it's going to show up right in my timeline as an essential property that's ready to replace. So there's my placeholder video down here. Okay. In fact, I can close this panel. I no longer need it. And now I can start dragging in other footage. Let's say we don't want an astronaut this time. We want a skater. I have a clip of a skater here. I can just drag and drop that right on top. And now I have a skater coming in. Wow. But you can also see there's a problem here. That clip's too short. That's a problem. I want this graphic to be this duration. So I can open this up. I can just click on it. And maybe we just want to do something really simple. Let's do layer, time, freeze on last frame. We're just going to freeze frame this for now. You could do something more elaborate here. You could add multiple clips to this composition. And now you can see when I go back here, not only is that video clip there, it's going to hold. So I can replace stuff. I can make multiple versions. And then each one of those variations I can customize. So you have a ton of flexibility here. Similarly, you could say, I want another version of this, and I want this one to have some dancers in it. So again, I'm going to go down to my essential properties. And when we say essential properties, they're properties that are essential. They're the stuff you care about. And they're the things you want to replace. So again, drag and drop. And now I have dancers built into the scene, but they have all of the effects, everything we've done with them with retiming, repositioning that footage. All of that's kept. We've just swapped out the footage inside.
Okay. Well, that's great.
It's a nice, fast workflow.
Yeah, and making titles easily, yeah.
It works exactly the same in Premiere Pro, too. So if I open this in Essential Graphics, you see there's Export Motion Graphics Template here.
Okay.
I can click that. After Effects will pack up everything I need to make this into a template. into a single file. That's a MOGRT file. And then over in Premiere Pro, I have the same thing. And I have exactly the same option. In fact, I can just drop in anything I want. So I can click on this on my timeline. And those same controls from After Effects from the Essential Graphics panel, they show up here in Premiere Pro in the Essential Graphics panel. So you have a much simpler workflow here. You might not be a motion designer at all. You may never touch After Effects, but you can really create some incredible graphics just by dragging and dropping.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that a try because I'm always amazed when I go through the graphics packs and see what the free and the paid versions are and what they're doing with them. Not only adding photos or anything like that, but also changing like you have like little waves there on that graphic. You could being able to change them into straight lines or dotted lines or whatever. It's just amazing what you can do with the product at hand. So I'll definitely give it a try.
Yeah, and when you do this in Premiere Pro, there's a ton of great templates that are free on Adobe stock, as well as some paid ones that let you replace media. You can drop in your own logos. You can drop in your own footage. You can drop in whole sequences. You can get really fancy with this, but it really is as easy as find a template, put it in your timeline, and then drag a photo over here. And now I have a flower instead of an astronaut. It's super simple, and you can have a lot of fun with this. And there's just endless templates available. Yeah. One that I had some fun with myself was this one, which is one of our stock templates. It's a sports intro, and it's very like tough sports. So the reason I have all these flowers is I made this about extreme gardening.
Nice.
And so we've got plants and birds.
Are you a gardener?
Yeah, we have a little garden outside. So
nice.
These are a bunch of pictures from the garden.
Okay. Wow. So that's a great way to really beef up your videos there, and that's all in the March release. So that's actually in After Effects and Photo or Premiere Pro right now. But we got to get into the nitty gritty now. Let's talk about what's coming to After Effects.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to say, going back to After Effects here, is to anybody watching this who hasn't tried the private beta, or not private beta, the public beta. Everyone who has a Creative Cloud subscription has access to our public beta. And it is as simple as going to the beta apps tab and choosing After Effects beta. You can just download this right through Creative Cloud. It's really easy. And we update this every day. These are our developer builds. So as we're building After Effects, we're making those same builds available to users to give us feedback on everything that's in development. We tell you what's new in that build, and we give you an opportunity to help shape that development. We have a couple things right now people have given us really great suggestions about. But the one that everybody is most excited about, of course, is multi-frame rendering.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, though, before we get into that, just on that beta build, the important thing is that even though you install a beta build, you'll still have the actual production version on your computer, correct?
Yes, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. The beta builds install right alongside the release builds, and the project files are compatible. So you can go back and forth, try something out in the beta, then go back to production, vice versa. Okay. So we really try to make it as painless as possible to try the new stuff.
Yeah, and to be painless even more by, if I'm testing a beta and I find a problem, I can tell you right away, this is the problem I found, and then you can fix that, and then it doesn't become a problem 3-6 months down the line. So that's what I like about having the beta builds to play with. So we've had cases where somebody reported a bug, and we were able to fix it the very next day. That's awesome,
and that's a great feeling being able to do that.
Absolutely. All right, well let's take a look at this new feature.
So multi-frame rendering is pretty much what it sounds like. You're able to render multiple frames at once. Now, several years ago, After Effects had a feature called Render Multiple Frames Simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And they sound really similar, but this is actually a completely different feature. And what this does is true multi-threaded rendering, where the old version, it would spin up copies of After Effects on every core. And so it would use a lot of your hardware, but not very efficiently. And we're actually gone through and multi-threaded and made thread safe the entire application. I think the team has touched something like 5 million lines of code. This has been a huge undertaking. It's taken multiple years, but we're really excited that we're finally able to get this into users' hands, because On a lot of systems, we're seeing 3x performance boosts.
You said 3x performance boost.
Yeah. On a good machine, you're going to see a really big improvement in your rendering.
That is awesome.
That's time. That's a deadline you don't miss. That's not having to go get a cup of coffee because you're waiting for a render. That's time you can actually spend on the creative part of the work. So
yeah.
It's really exciting. It's also something everybody's been asking for.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to show it because that would take up a lot of actual processing. We're doing a lot of stuff on here, correct?
We are doing quite a lot of processing on my machine right now with the combo of all the apps I have open and Zoom. I can give you a little peek at this, though, and show you what it looks like. We've redesigned the render queue, made it a lot friendlier, and there's more coming. So right now, this is in the render queue only, but that's going to change. We're going to add support for multi-frame rendering in Preview, in Media Encoder, in Motion Graphics Templates, in Premiere, but also adding things. One of the things we have in the works right now is notifications to send a message to your phone to tell you your render's finished if you've gone out to do something else.
Really? Yeah, because I go to the other room and I start watching old TV episodes of Scrubs. So it'd be nice to know when it's done and I can come back and fix things. Will it also tell you if there's errors or anything like that? Okay, perfect. That's awesome.
So we're hoping to roll that out pretty soon. I'm really excited about that one. And I'm going to hit render here and you can get a peek at the new render queue. It's going to take a second to spin up. And then that little green bar is showing you all the different frames that are rendering at the same time. So if I wasn't using all of my system to do other stuff, this would be rendering even faster than this. But you can see
this is an Intel Mac too. This is not the M1 Mac. Yeah. This is and is this a 2019, 2020 model of Mac or, you know?
Yeah, I think this is a 2019 MacBook Pro.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm on right now. But you can see it's pretty nice, pretty smooth performance. And it's just chugging along. So
that's cool.
Much faster. I've had a couple things that have just blown me away with how quickly they've rendered.
Yeah, and it's saying that the RAM on the bottom, you can actually see how everything was moving on your computer to make that happen. So we can be on a Zoom call. That's awesome. We can be on a Zoom call and you can render things out. So we can we can go back and forth and say, wait a minute, I didn't like how that worked. Let's fix that up and work faster and easier with different clients.
That is the goal. That's always the goal.
So, all right. So multi-frame rendering. What is it coming out soon? Do we have a time frame, or is that a little bit farther in the future?
So we can't make any promises about when we're going to ship this in a release. That's just standard Adobe rules. But it's available today in public beta. You can try this out now. And we're going to continue to roll out new features and expand where you can access multi-frame rendering as we go. So this is over the next several weeks, several months. You're going to see continued improvement, continued expansion of availability. And hopefully it'll get even faster too.
Okay, perfect. Well, Victoria, thank you very much for your time. I learned a lot, and I'll definitely open up my After Effects and take a look, see what I can do.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Thanks a lot for watching this interview. We got a lot more over at geekazine.com or youtube.com/geekazine. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, that bell notification to let you know when the next video comes in. Of course, you can follow all the socials. And until next time, you guys geek out and take care.